Yo, what is up, y'all? It's Cone back here again tonight with another episode of After the Buzzer, the show where I recap the NBA games from the night. We've got two to go ahead and get into, so we'll get right into them. There were some crazy performances tonight, and now we've got two Game 7s to look forward to in a couple of days. It's been a great playoffs in general, but this second round has been ridiculous, especially this Bucks-Celtics series. I said it last video, this is a series that I wish could go like 17 games rather than 7. All these games have just been so fun. And tonight, last game I said it might be the best game of the year so far. This one may have topped it in some ways. Just the incredible duel, especially between Giannis and Tatum in this one, was ridiculous. Two superstar level players, and yes, I think Tatum is a superstar level player. And I'm going to talk a lot about him in this video because I feel like he doesn't get his flowers enough for being one of the best players in the league. He's top 10 in my opinion. If he's not 10, he's maybe like right there at 11, but I think he's right there in the top 10 conversation. He's ridiculous. Tonight, him and Giannis going at each other all night, all game. It was one where for the last few games, Tatum's kind of been hit or miss sometimes. Some quarters he's on, some quarters he's off. This was a game where Tatum put his team on his back as their superstar, as their franchise player, as someone who I think is going to win an MVP in the future, and said, I refuse to let us go out in 6 games. I'm going to at least get us to a Game 7, and he went berserk in this one, had 7 threes, dropped 46 points, 9 rebounds, 4 assists, over 50% shooting, 43 minutes. He was unstoppable. There was nothing they could do. Hitting threes from the outside, tough mid-range jumpers as he does, getting to the bucket, a dagger and one to really close this one out. He was ridiculous. There was nothing they could do to stop him. And the Bucks have good defenders. They've got Giannis, they've got Drew, but Tatum was he was possessed. He was a man on a mission tonight, and it was so fun to see him and Giannis go at each other. Giannis on the other side had 44 points, 20 rebounds, and 6 assists. The first 40-20 playoff game since Shaq, and I believe only the third one ever with him, Shaq, and Wilt Chamberlain being the only 3, which is a ridiculous stat for all the great big men we've seen in the league. To see Giannis come out and put up those numbers is ridiculous. It's a shame they had to come in a loss. Drew only had 17. He wasn't great. Pat Connaughton had 14, but other than that, no one else scored in double digits. No one else even scored above 6 outside of those 3 guys. It was just a lot of Giannis tonight. The rest of the team really wasn't getting it going, and Giannis tried to put them on his back. We've talked a lot on this channel about how Chris Middleton not being there really hurts the Bucks because they don't have that consistent second option. We've seen some decent performances from Drew, last game being an incredible one, but tonight they just really lacked Chris Middleton's offense, being another option as well to guard Jayson Tatum. Not that there was no way you were going to stop Tatum tonight. If Tatum wanted a bucket, he was most of the time going to get that bucket with the way he was playing. And I feel like he's just a guy who gets really disrespected by NBA fans a lot of the time. To me, he's a guy, like I said, I think is going to win an MVP in the future. And this is coming from someone who honestly, and I've said this before on this channel, but I was low on Jayson Tatum for a good portion of his career. And by low, I mean, I thought he'd be like an all-star caliber player, but I really didn't know if he'd ever be that superstar caliber player, someone who could go ahead and make all NBA teams, eventually maybe even win an MVP. I was completely wrong, and I've admitted that on this channel, and I've completely flipped from being low on Jayson Tatum to now being really, really high on him. I think he's incredible. I think what he did in this game, going up against the best player in the world and taking him on head on after the way that they really collapsed last game. The Celtics came back in this one, refused to die, and force a Game 7 that I cannot wait for. It's either going to be one where Giannis and Jayson Tatum both put up like 50. You see crazy clutch plays on both sides until one team comes out the winner in a 48-minute or even more overtime, like minute-long battle. Or it's one of the most disgusting games you've ever seen, which it feels like Game 7s go that way a lot, but I'm kind of leaning towards the former because I just think that these two guys are going to go absolutely ballistic. Jayson Tatum did get some help in this one from Jaylen Brown and Marcus Smart, who both had really good games. Jaylen Brown with 22, 5, and 4, Marcus Smart with 21, 5, and 7, especially early on, really taking kind of the reins of the offense, getting them going with some early offense. That was huge for them. His playmaking, like like I said, 7 assists, doing a great job of continuing to step up when his team needs him. No Robert Williams once again tonight. Al Horford put up 10 boards. He only scored 2 points, so we didn't see that crazy Al Horford that we've seen the last couple games, but he was really solid. He was a big part as to why they were able to shut down the rest of the Bucks. They were able to lock down low. You can't really stop Giannis. There's not a lot you can do, but he did a pretty good job of trying to defend the paint. You had 9, 5, and 2 from Derek White. Daniel Tice 4 points in only 10 minutes. So all around, the Celtics doing a pretty good job of trying to keep up. But especially those 3 guys, Tatum, Brown, and Smart, really showing out in this one, forcing that Game 7 back in Boston. It's going to be an electric game. I cannot wait for that one. Sunday at 3:30 Eastern. It's going to be a great time. Can't wait to see it. I'm so sad that this series has to end. It's been so much fun to watch these two teams go after each other. Whoever comes out of this one, they're probably going to be exhausted, and they're going to face off against a really good Miami Heat team next round, which I think whoever comes out of this Game 7, it'll be a great series against the Heat, whoever it is. But it just sucks that sometimes some of these series have to end, but this is one of those that I wish could go on forever, but it can't. Really what the Bucks kind of need to do is find a way to slow down those 3 guys next game. They've got to get more consistent offense. You can't have Giannis putting up 44 and 20 and losing. Drew's got to be more consistent. Like I've been saying all playoffs, it really is going to come down to the consistency of Drew Holiday offensively, as well as those role players hitting their threes. They really didn't tonight, and so Boston does come out on top. It's going to be crazy. I can't wait. Let me know who you have in Game 7 in the comment section below. I'd love to hear who y'all have. I can't wait for that one. Yeah, there's nothing more to say. I just keep talking about how much I've loved this series and how excited I am for it. Game 7 that being, but I'll move on to the next one now. I think I've talked enough about this. Jayson Tatum's a superstar, top 10 player in the world. I've said my piece. After that, we had Golden State versus Memphis. Memphis stunning the Warriors last game, winning by 39, I believe it was, or something along those lines, going up by 50 at one point without Ja Morant. So coming into this one, it was a matter of, would the Warriors bring them back down to earth, or would Memphis continue on that roll and force a Game 7? And for a good portion of this, it was really close. Really up until the last 5 or 6 minutes, the Memphis Grizzlies kept this thing close. They had a bunch of leads. I believe this game had more lead changes over the course of the game than the whole series had before, which shows how competitive this game was. A lot of the games earlier in this series, they did have some clutch and like back and forth moments, but most of the time it was like one team kind of goes up and then they just stay that way for most of the game. This was not the case. This was super back and forth with guys hitting big buckets on both ends. And then the Golden State Warriors offensive explosion came in the fourth quarter. Steph especially really turned it up at the end. He was pretty meh over the course of the whole game, but in the fourth quarter went crazy, hitting a logo 3, a corner 3, a couple different buckets that really kind of just sunk the Grizzlies in any momentum that they had. Klay Thompson, it was a Game 6. If you didn't expect Klay Thompson to go off, then you probably weren't paying attention or didn't know what game it was. Klay Thompson was incredible. He started off 5 for 5 from 3. He had 30 points, 8 rebounds, 2 assists in 42 minutes. It's Klay. In Game 6, this is what you're going to get from him, whether it's against the Grizzlies, the Rockets, OKC, whoever he plays in Game 6s, Klay is going to go off. So the Suns Mavericks, whoever comes out of that series, should probably try and close them out quicker than 6 games if they don't want to have to face off against this version of Klay. Steph did end up with 29, 7, and 5. But really the X factor, really a couple guys I do want to highlight in this recap here, Kevon Looney and Andrew Wiggins. Also, Draymond Green had 14 points, 15 rebounds, and 8 assists. Classic Draymond stuff. He was really good as well. But those two guys, Andrew Wiggins started off 1 for 8 in the second half, completely turned it up. When the Warriors were kind of struggling to find some offense every now and again, Andrew Wiggins would knock down a bucket. He went 3 for 3 from 3 in that fourth quarter, or in the second half as a whole. He was just such a great presence offensively as well as defensively. He had multiple blocks, altering shots on the other end. It was shades of the Wiggins that we saw earlier in the season that earned that All-Star nod. He's really kind of been hit or miss over the second half of the season and through some of these playoffs, but tonight showed really why he can be so valuable to this Warriors team if he's able to lock in, hit his shots, and really lock down defensively. He's going to be critical going forward in both the conference finals and the NBA finals if they're able to make it there. But for right now, Wiggins, just a phenomenal job in this game. And then Kevon Looney, 4 points, 5 assists, 22 rebounds, 11 of them being offensive boards. He was a monster on the boards in this one, including at the end when the Warriors were starting to pull away with things. They shot a three, they missed. Kevon Looney grabbed the rebound, kicked it out, another three, missed. Kevon Looney once again grabs the rebound, kicks it back out to Steph in the corner. Steph drills it. Ball game basically wrapped at that point. Just made so many plays to continuously give the Warriors momentum. Anytime they'd miss a bucket, he was hustling down low, trying to get the board, tipping it back out, grabbing it, kicking it out to a shooter. He was so vital in this game. He played a career high 35 minutes as well. He's a guy that really has never gotten his flowers for the role that he plays on this team, and stepping up in a big way for them in this game 6 where they really needed someone to grab boards, someone to be physical. Kevon Looney was there to do that, and just an incredible performance from a guy who a lot of time he kind of goes unheralded in a lot of these games, but shout out to Kevon Looney. He was incredible. Also, like I said, Draymond Green grabbing 15 boards, Wiggins grabbing 11, 8 boards from Clay, 7 boards from Steph. They were grabbing boards left and right, ultimately just sinking the Grizzlies, being the better team all in all. John Morant, they really missed him tonight, the Grizzlies. They missed his consistent offense. Dillon Brooks had 30, but it took him almost 30 shots to get there. Some really ill-advised shot attempts, but he did really start off hot. And when you need to kind of bring along that offense, someone's got to take some of those looks. And so Dillon Brooks did a pretty good job of trying to keep them in this thing. He was trying to wheel them forward to the win. Not a lot of great shots a lot of the time, but that's kind of the Dillon Brooks experience. He's going to take a lot of shots if you give him the green light like the way he had it tonight, especially without John Morant. Someone's going to pick up those shots, and tonight it was Dillon Brooks. Like I said, he wasn't necessarily efficient, but putting up 30 is putting up 30. Desmond Bane had 25.7 rebounds and 2 assists. He was really good in this one, giving them a consistent source of offense, not just hitting threes like we typically see from Desmond Bane, but hitting crazy buckets at the rim. And he had this crazy like up and under scoop layup going left and then right like around 2 defenders as well, falling to the ground. You had 7 points, 9 rebounds, and 8 assists from Tyus Jones, who continues to be solid. 8 points from D'Anthony Melton. You had 12 from Jaren Jackson Jr., who struggled offensively. The Warriors just did a really good job of preventing like guys like Jaren Jackson Jr. and Brandon Clark, who have been pretty consistent offensively in this series, from getting going down low. Another shout out to Kevon Looney and Draymond Green for that. But ultimately, the Warriors, just the better team, move on to the Western Conference Finals to face the winner of Suns-Mavs, who are in a Game 7 themselves. Also can't wait for that one. But for the Grizzlies, it's just a shame that their season has to end this way. Losing John Morant due to injury. They're going to be back. This, to me, really gives a lot of shades of... some of y'all might like not know about this, but the Thunder losing to the Los Angeles Lakers in 2010 when they were young with like Russ, KD, Harden, that era. It kind of has that kind of feel where this Grizzlies team, they were beat up, they were young, just losing to this really well-established championship caliber team. They're going to be back. This Grizzlies team is not going anywhere. Next year, they're going to be right in the thick of things, especially if they make a couple acquisitions, adjustments. This Grizzlies team is going to be right back in the picture to go for that 1 seed in the Western Conference once again. They'll be back. This is not at all the end of the Memphis Grizzlies. Grizzlies fans, I'm sure you're very happy with your season. Even if you want to see a championship, like where they got compared to where they were supposed to be, it was an incredible season from them, and it sucks to see it end. A lot of fun players on this squad. I'm excited to see them back next year, but ultimately the Warriors, just being the more experienced and more veteran team, end up coming out with the win. So those are my thoughts on the games tonight. Like I said, looking forward to the 2 Game 7s. I can't wait to talk about those with y'all on this channel. Also, shout to the Warriors and also the Miami Heat. I didn't drop a video yesterday. I was busy. So shout to the Heat for making it to the Eastern Conference Finals as well. A team that a lot of people doubted and really weren't expecting to be where they've gotten despite being a 1 seed. So shout to them, dealing with some injuries themselves, pushing through them. Kyle Lowry, namely, making it to the Eastern Conference Finals to face off against the Bucks or the Celtics. We're going to get some really good basketball in the conference finals. We're going to be down to 4 teams pretty soon, which is kind of ridiculous because to me, it feels like the playoffs still just started. I know we've gotten a lot of great games and everything like that, but it kind of sucks that it's starting to wind down a little bit. Although I think we're going to have an incredible conference finals on both sides, as well as a great NBA finals, just great basketball all around. So those are my thoughts on the games and on the playoffs as a whole. I appreciate y'all watching. Please leave a like and subscribe if you did enjoy. It helps me out a ton, and I really appreciate it. Also, if you made it to this point in the video, I'm going to be live streaming for the draft lottery on May 17th. So if you want to see that, I'm going to be here on this channel doing that. So make sure you come drop by. Hopefully the Thunder get at least one top 4, top 3 pick. We'll see. Last year the luck wasn't great, so maybe this year it'll change up. But for right now, I appreciate y'all watching, and I will see you all later. Real one, say it back.